Hi, crafty friends. How are you? All right, I'm gonna let this all get signed in real quick. I'm gonna pull this up on my phone so I can see all of your comments. Hello, Daniel and Glenda. I'm gonna call you that. Hopefully that's okay. Okay, let's see here. Hello, Blue Butterfly. Thanks for joining me. Okay. So I'm gonna turn it up a little. So I can see all of your comments. Okay, all right. Hi, Gail and Diane, Pauline and Lee. Thanks for joining me. Hi, Heather. I believe Heather is moderating today for me. Okay, so we are going to do another sneak peek today of new products. And oh, Corey. Oh, I'm so glad that you could join me live today. That is fantastic. Okay, all right. I need to mute this. There we go. Sorry, hopefully that wasn't coming through echoed for you. So, okay, good. Glad we're coming through loud and clear. Video quality should be better once I switch over to the nicer camera. And of course, what you see on my desktop is far more important than what you see here. So, okay. So just some housekeeping stuff. So, because I always forget to mention this at the beginning of my lives, I'm going to try to get better about it. But of course, we always give away a $15 gift card code to one lucky winner from our live feeds. So be sure to chat with me, comment, that kind of stuff. And Heather will pick a winner from all of the comments. Don't forget to share. Just underneath the video, you'll see a little button that says share with an arrow. Click on it, share it to your Facebook page, share it to a group that might allow it. Definitely make sure that that is allowed first before you do it, but and just share this video and then let us know you did share, and that counts as an extra entry. Okay, so I am going to be sneak peeking another new product that's going to be releasing on Friday. So this is another one of those great layering stencils that is a different one from that Heather previewed one on Thursday's Facebook Live. So I'm going to preview a different one, and we're going to make a really great Christmas card today. So looks like we have quite a few people watching. It looks like we have quite a few people that have signed on. So I am going to get everything switched around real quick, and we will get going. So give me just a minute to get this all switched. Okay, that normally does better. Okay, so we have the camera flipped around. I'm going to wait for YouTube to kind of catch up just to make sure that it looks okay. So yes, we are super excited. We are going to be previewing a new stencil. Okay, looks good. We've got that going on. So this is the stencil set that I am going to use today. It is called Overlapping Leafy Wreath. And this one is a 4-piece layering stencil. And I will explain how these work as we go. But as you can see, there's a stencil for each layer. And on the back, you get an example, which also in a way acts as a guide. So you know what it will look like. And then the other great thing, you probably cannot see this on camera, but it's really easy to see it when you're looking at them in real life, is it has the stencils are numbered. So it's numbered stencil 1 through 4. So you know which layer is which and which is the best order to ink blend them in. And then there are these little notches that are the exact dimension of a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel. And it just makes it so that your layers will all line up perfectly. And one of the main reasons for that is because there is a coordinating die for this one. There is not a coordinating die for everything that we're releasing, but the ones that it made sense, we have one. So that helps make sure that you get all of those layers lined up perfectly. So let's go ahead and start getting this all inked up and layered up. So I have my panel of white cardstock already trimmed down to 4¼ by 5½. I'm using Strathmore smooth, or excuse me, not Strathmore, Hammermill smooth white 100-pound cardstock. And I'm just going to put a little bit of Post-it tape to keep this down on my surface so it is easy to, so it doesn't move around on me. So quick tip, one thing I like to do is I like to put a piece of tape on the bottom, but then pull it up. And then you can align your layer so it gets aligned in the correct way, and then put the tape down so that your stencil won't move on you. Okay, so this first layer, I am going to ink up in mint ink. And yes, Corey, Padilla, these would be great for embossing paste, glimmer paste, glitter, all of that fun stuff. I'm going to just use inks today, but I do actually have some fun ideas using more textured type paste as well for in the future. But we're going to just do inks today, you know, for time purposes and just so you can see the basics of how this works. Okay, so one thing that I do is I typically will ink blend more at the base of which way the piece is going, whether it's a leaf or a botanical. So I'll ink blend a little heavier at the bases. And the cool thing about this one is it kind of changes, they go in different directions. So you can really add some great layering and dimension just by doing this with the one shade of ink. Now, the other great thing I love about this release, you guys, is that these are not holiday themed items, but they are easily adaptable to holiday or any type of season that you're wanting to use them for just by changing up the colors. And that's what I love about the fact that we do our best to make products so versatile and usable all throughout the year. So this is a wreath. You can ink it up in other colors for all different seasons. Today, I just am happening to use it for Christmas because I definitely, of course, have the holiday season on my mind. So I'm just going to do a little bit of cleanup here. And we are going to reveal the first layer. And there is just the start of this really beautiful wreath. Now I am just going to tuck it underneath, and that will just allow me to go from stencil to stencil here. Same technique as before. I'm going to stick that on the bottom, the tape on the bottom, get those grids lined up on the corner of my page, and then tape this guy down so that we can ink blend the next one. Okay, so the next color I am going to use is Coral Reef. I wanted to mention that green and pinks and reds are not technically complementary colors. So you want to be a little cautious when you're overlapping the green tones. Now they don't overlap a whole ton, so it's not a real huge deal that if they overlap a little bit, but you definitely don't want to be too heavy-handed where the green is, or the color will look a little bit off. So just keep that in mind, but you absolutely can use the pink over the green. Just be a little cautious. All right, I'm going to catch up on some comments here because I feel like I have kind of been ignoring them because I'm ink blending. So, but I see that Mona Toth has joined us, and I have no idea if I say your last name correct, but thank you for joining us today. I'm so glad that you're here. You make such beautiful cards. I love your work. So thanks for joining me here today. I'm so glad you guys are loving this stencil. I think it's so fun, so beautiful. And I am really enjoying it in these festive colors. I think the cards I did a couple of weeks ago had kind of a similar color palette. This must be my Christmas color palette of the year. This kind of modern and fresh take on red and green. Okay, so let's do the next reveal. So we're starting to build that wreath up. And it's already looking great, but I'm so excited to do the next 2 layers. Yes, thank you guys. I'm glad you are loving this. Okay, stencil number 3. Let's get the tape on there and then get it lined up. And if you're just joining on, I mentioned earlier, these stencils are numbered up here in the upper left corner, and then they have notches to help you line up your panel. Obviously, you probably can't see them on video, but they're very easy to see in person when you have them and you're using them directly in front of you. Okay, next up, we are going to use passion fruit for the next layer. And I am going to oh yes, the Leafy Wreath die, I think is now discontinued, but it was definitely one of my very favorite dies that I'll never, ever get rid of. So all right, as I mentioned, I'm ink blending this next layer in passion fruit, doing the same thing that I do with all of the layers. I start at the bottom. I'm a little bit heavier handed at the bottom and just ink up lighter towards the top of that leafy image. One thing I'm not doing on camera, but I'll do when all is said and done, is I will clean my stencils off. And just to give you guys a quick tip, I just keep some rubbing alcohol in a bottle and I spritz down, I put a couple spritz down onto the stencil and just wipe it off with a dry cloth like this. One of those lint-free microfiber, that's what they're called. So really super easy to clean these stencils. When all is said and done, I'm just going to do it after the fact so I don't waste your time cleaning. So fun fact about me, I have been holding out and waiting, and I keep checking for rubbing alcohol at Target. I'm a creature of habit. I don't really like to go to other stores. And Target has been out of rubbing alcohol basically since this whole pandemic started. So, but they had bottles the other day and I grabbed 2. And so now I don't have to hoard all of my little bit of rubbing alcohol I had left, because it's how I clean my stencils and it's also how I clean my glass mat. So, Jean, I'm not sure if rubbing alcohol will take off the embossing paste. If I'm using embossing paste with a stencil, I typically will, right after I am finished, actually take the stencil over to a sink and clean it off completely with like warm water and soap. It might, it might take it off, but I don't honestly know. So definitely try it out and see. Just using it for when I'm just using ink makes it so I don't need to go run over to a sink and clean my stencil. I can just clean it off right at my desk. Okay, we are on the final layer here. And for this final layer, we are going to use Candy Apple, which is probably like my very favorite shade of the vibrant red. And it's gonna be just a perfect pop of vibrant red on these smaller leaf image, pardon me, that's part of this stencil set. This is such a fun stencil, you guys. I think you're going to have so much fun using it when you are able to purchase it and use it for yourself. So many color combinations that you can use for it. Oh, the sky is the limit. I know that I can't wait to use it for even, more sentiments and seasons and occasions out there. These ones are so small, I'm not really worrying about their direction. I am just covering them in red ink just to give this a great pop of color. Tiffany Solario, she uses Crud Cutter if she has dried on paste. I did not even know that was a thing. So good to know. Thank you for that tip. Yeah, and I imagine if something dries on it, you also might just be able to, scrape it off with your fingernail. I don't think embossing, oh, goodness. I don't think embossing powder embossing paste has a super sticky bond, but good to know on the Crud Cutter. All right, so I'm just going to wipe that off. I'll clean it better in a little bit, but are you guys ready for the big reveal on this? This is always my favorite part, when you get to see the finished creation. And voila, there we have it, our layered wreath in its entirety. So beautiful. I just love this. I think this is so fun. No stamp required. And you still have this beautiful image. It kind of has that no line coloring feel to it, but it doesn't require nearly as much work. Okay, so let's see. Now we're gonna die cut this guy real quick. And I wanted to give you a tip on that. So when I pull out the die, you'll notice I look at the image, and you might not be able to see, but I put a black dot next to this little leaf right here. And then on my die, I also used a Sharpie, and I put a black dot where that leaf is located on my die. And what that allows me to do is I'm not always fussing around trying to find where this die with these million little leaves lines up. So now I have that reference point for adding the die, and it doesn't take me, eons every single time to line the die up. So just a little tip, when you have a die like this that has so many little pieces that you're trying to line up, I do that with all of them. I'll mark the little dot on both the back of my packaging and on my die to help me line up that process, and it makes it super easier, like so much easier to line it up. Okay, I'm gonna die cut this real quick. So my machine might be a little bit loud, but I think Zoom will mute it after a second. Okay, and then what you'll see is you have this gorgeous wreath, perfectly die cut and ready for you to use on your card. Now I see I got a little bit heavy-handed over here where the green and the red was. It's a little muddy, but I can just arrange it so that something covers that up, whether it's the sentiment or whatnot. And honestly, people probably wouldn't even notice that little bit of discoloration. Okay, so we are also going to ink blend a background. Now I'm not going to use one of another new item. I'm going to use a previously released item. I'm going to use the Diagonal Stripes stencil from our Slimline release. And we're going to do a really cool stripe that in a way looks a little bit like a candy cane. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got another panel of white cardstock cut, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing as I did before. We are going to tape down that cardstock panel, and then we are going to line up this stencil just kind of down the middle. Now, because of the card design I have chosen, it doesn't really matter that this does not fit an A2 card to the edges, because those are actually going to be covered up. So we are just going to tape this down, And then first off, we are going to ink blend the first layer in a little bit of Coral Reef. And now you don't want to be too heavy-handed on this. Just do a nice light ink blend. We don't want this to be overpowering by any means. This just is going to be a nice light Coral Reef stripe. Oh, Lori, no worries about joining in late. We, of course, will save this to our YouTube channel so you can watch it from the beginning after it posts. But absolutely no worries joining late, better late than never. And I'm so glad that you're here. And same with you, Mayra, Mayra, I'm not sure how you say that. Just thanks for joining us when you had a moment to. Okay, yes. Hiding your little mistakes is definitely the primary use of embellishments. I definitely agree with you on that, Jean. Okay, so I think that is good enough for the Coral Reef. I'm just gonna wipe this down a little bit. Okay, we are not done yet though. So we are going to pull this stripe wreath up, and we are just going to slightly move it up. You want a little bit of that Coral Reef stripe to peek out from underneath, because we're going to layer over top of it. So just move the stencil ever so slightly up. And this time we're going to go 2 shades up, and we're going to ink blend in Candy Apple. Cindy Ann, I'm glad you have found us. You're new to Pink Fresh. I'm super glad you found us. I hope that you're enjoying all of these videos and our product, and we can't wait to see what you create with them. Oh, you purchased some of our Slimline stuff. That is fantastic. It's a great collection of product. We love Slimline here at Pink Fresh, so very excited that you have that. Lori, yes, our new release is on Friday. It will go live Friday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. And that is when you'll be able to see everything. You can buy all of the different items from the release. Yes, so all of the fun happens at 7 a.m. on Friday. There's also, of course, a big, fantastic release blog hop with prizes. There will be a product, like an overview video on our YouTube channel here with a grand prize, a grand prize of the entire collection on it. And then, of course, Instagram as well. Yes, this diagonal stripe stencil is probably one of my favorites. It's probably the one I pull out the most, and it's gotten the most use since we released it. So I definitely love this. And yeah, this does, the reason why I did it this way is it does in a way resemble a candy cane. And that was kind of the basis behind this. Okay, I think we're probably good. And you could blend heavier handed if you wanted to. I'm doing a little bit lighter handed this time. I went a little heavier handed on my practice run. Okay, so let's do a little clean off here so I don't get ink everywhere. Let's get the big reveal here. And ta-da, you get this really cool striped, and I know it's a little harder now to see the lighter, the coral, but it's there, and it's this perfect little stripe that just is perfect on here. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna clean a couple things up, just get them out of my way here, things that I don't need anymore. And then we pretty much are just gonna start assembling this card and putting it together. Who needs colored cardstock, right? You can make your own. Okay, so let's see here. I'm trying to think of what I need to do next. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys. So I actually have my card base ready with a background already mounted to it, because I wanted to add a whole bunch of glitter. So I went ahead and pre-glittered this and adhered it down because it's kind of messy. If you do not like glitter, you can skip this part and just trim your panel down a little bit and adhere it to the middle of the card base. So, but I wanted to add some glitter. Oh, thank you, Heather. It's just shimmery and festive and Christmassy, and I just love it. I love how it kind of softened the background colors as well. Okay, so we also, I pre-die cut most everything else that we're using, but I still wanted to show you guys. So we are using these stitched scalloped rectangles or I'm using them to frame my lovely ink blended striped background. So when we released these, we knew we wanted to release a stitched scallop rectangle, but we also know that there are a lot of items out there that are already on the market. So we always try to release things that are, original, a little bit innovative. And so we released these ones this way, where you get the two cuts in the one die, because we wanted to give you just the ultimate in versatility. So you can, of course, use the frames alone, and they're great shaker frames, just, great layering pieces. But what we love about them is that you can use these together and you can do different colors. So I could have done light pink with one of them. I chose gold because I love to add a little bit of some type of gold, whether it's glitter or foil. I love adding that to most of my cards. You could have done red and white. You could have done red and pink. So many possibilities. But we just wanted to show you how fun this die set is when you use the two frame pieces together. So I cut it once from this red cardstock, and then I cut it again from the gold foil. Now I added foam tape to the back of the red piece, and I'm going to put it up first to act as a guide for that second layer. And pardon me if my hair or anything gets in this. This one takes a little bit to line up because I want to make sure I don't do it super crooked or anything like that. Okay. So this one is making me a little crazy. There we go. Okay. All right. I also did die cut it, or I think I already had it die cut one more time from white. And I went ahead and I layered the gold foil layer with another white cardstock cut, just to make it a little bit more sturdy and give it a little bit more dimension and sturdiness when I go to place it on the inside. Now this is glitter, so I am going to use some liquid glue to adhere this piece down, because I always just feel like I get the best results on adhering things to something that's glittered with this liquid glue. It gives you some time to arrange it in there so you can move it around a little bit, and make sure, it is in there straight and even, but then it will have a good strong bond for this. Okay, so we're just going to pop this in here. The other thing about adding that second layer of cardstock, it also in some ways makes it fit a little bit more snug in your frame. So it also helps with that aspect as well. Okay, so let's just do that. Yes, better than buying multiple scallop sets. And that was a little bit of our reasoning behind it as well. Is we wanted to give you versatility. We wanted to make sure that all of the pieces were usable. We have never really done like a truly nested set, because we think as they get so small that we don't, they're just not used as often. So we try to stick with like the two most common sizes, one that is, the standard A2 and then a little bit smaller if you're wanting to mount or frame. So, okay, so there is that frame. And so it's just so fun. I could have popped both of these pieces up with foam. I could have, just left them both flush to the card back to make it a little less dimensional. So if you don't want to add dimension, you definitely don't have to do the foam tape aspect. So, okay, let's keep going with this fun card. So now we are going to layer the wreath, and I just want to get the side that I like best. I think I like it like that. And I am going to pop this guy up with some foam dots as well, just to give it some added dimension up off of that frame piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw some dots on the back. Now I actually will probably also add some liquid adhesive to these foam squares once I take the backings, the backing off, just because it's glitter and stuff just doesn't always stick super well to glitter. Oh, thank you, Myra. I'm glad, and I have no idea if I say your name correctly. I'm glad that you are loving this design. I think it's super fun, very festive. Hopefully my lighting is still okay. It's starting to get a little darker here. Seems like it's okay. All right, let's go ahead and put some dots of liquid adhesive onto these foam dots. Okay. All right. And then we're just going to put it on here, just like that. And then once that liquid glue sets, it will have a nice strong hold, even though that background is so glittery. Okay, finally, I also pre-cut the sentiment. And the sentiment that I chose today is from our phrase builder, Happy Holidays. This is a nice big set. They're really great for slim lines. And you get Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Season's Greetings, and for all of our UK friends, you can also do Happy Christmas. Of course, you can mix and match these with other stamps and other dies to get many other combos of sentiments as well. I went ahead and die cut Season's Greetings already, just to keep from boring you from all of the cutting and all of the layering and stacking. But just to give you a quick overview of how I did this, I cut it, the scripted word once from gold foil and twice from white cardstock and stacked it just to give it a little bit of added dimension. And then I die cut the shadow from vellum and glued the stacked words onto the vellum. And now we are just going to layer it to the front. And I think I'm going to do it like this. So I'm going to have to put a little piece of foam on the back of the S just to help keep it up off the background. But I think I will glue down greetings first because it really doesn't need that. So I think I just need to put some glue on the GR and the GS. And I just add a few dots of the liquid glue here and there. You don't have to cover it completely because it does spread out a little bit. And it will still hold really well. Okay. And the great thing about this is even if this glue kind of seeps out underneath the vellum at all, it's okay. It will dry clear. So never fear you're not going to ruin your card if a little bit of the adhesive seeps out from underneath. Daniel, I agree. A little ribbon would be super cute on this card. I agree 100%. All right, so for this guy, I am going to grab just a little bit of foam tape, and I'm going to put it down here on the bottom of the S. And I don't think it will stick out too much. Nah, it's good enough. And that will just help keep the S off of the bottom. So for this, I need to add glue under the top of the S and over on the N and S. Okay. Yeah, the artistic bow set is one of our favorites, and it would look really cute. This card has a lot of color, as is, so a pretty vellum bow or a white bow or something like that would probably be best, with maybe a couple of gold accents, like maybe the ribbon around the middle or something like that would be perfect. Oh, you know what? That's dumb. Let's put a little bit of glue on the foam too. Wanda is asking me what I used to make the glitter stick. So I normally use a repositionable spray adhesive that I just get at like a craft store. When I went to use it, it apparently had clogged and I couldn't figure out how to unclog it. So I actually just used pixie spray on this card and it worked. So yay for that. You know, I kind of pinched hit, you know, did a pinch hit, whatever that is called. Last minute change to make it work. And that is what I did. Okay, so there we have it. There's that. Okay, so we've got one final step that I always add to my cards and Heather always adds to her cards. Let's put a little bit of bling on it. Ditto Delphox, we actually have two really great bow die sets that are perfect. You just assemble them, you get it, they cut out all the pieces and you just assemble them, and they're really, really cute bows. So definitely take a look at those if that's something you'd be interested in. Okay, so I am going to use the red crystals, the pink crystals, and the clear. As you can see, the pink and the clear crystals are the ones I use the most. Let's get this out of my way. Okay, so gotta find, I wanted to use the bigger red crystals. I just gotta find some. There's one. And there's one. Perfect. Okay, go ahead and put those back in. Okay, so I am going to do just some little trios of bling. You could add some bling onto the wreath as well if you would like, if you wanted. I'm gonna just stick with a couple of little trios to frame it for the sake of time. Susan B, you asked for bling for Christmas and you accidentally opened it. That's funny. Did you mean to? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna move these out of my way so I don't knock them over. And we are almost done here. Okay. I'm gonna use a little extra glue because these are gluing down to glitter. So I really want them to get a good hold on that glitter. Oh, yay, for those that have their crystals arriving soon. They're super fun. They're great for shakers because they are diamond shaped, but they also are just great for accenting cards because they do have the flat top versus the flat bottom of our jewels. All right. We are almost done here. Okay, so here is our card. Let me clean these crystals up before I make a mess of them. You don't even want to know how many times I have dropped crystals all over my floor and had to pick them all up. And also, one thing I forgot to mention, when you are doing your sentiment, don't forget to save your tittles and your apostrophes. I made the mistake of accidentally tossing my little tittle in my sentiment today, so I had to die cut just that. And not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but I hate wasting things, and I hate wasting extra time. So be aware of those little pieces and make sure to set them aside. So that is my card for today. Very festive and glittery. If you don't like the glitter, just leave that part off. That's why I didn't really show it happening here also, because I didn't want to spray glue on camera. Excuse me. So, but if you like the glitter, definitely a fun step to add. But if you don't, it looks great without the glitter as well. So I'm glad you like this card. So I am going to flip my camera around while we wait for Heather to pick a winner, and I will keep an eye on the comments here. So let me get my video switched. Okay, there we are. All right. So thank you guys so much. I'm glad you enjoyed this card today. It was fun to dream up. It was fun to play around with, colorful and cheerful. And oh, it looks like we have a winner. Congratulations to Corey Padilla. You have won today's $15 gift card code. Just email me, Leah, at pinkfreshstudio.com to claim your prize. Leah is just L-E-A. There's no H. And Heather also mentioned it in her comment. I just allowed 2 to 3 business days for reply because I do get a lot of emails. So congratulations, Corey. Thank you to everyone for joining me today. If you haven't yet, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Just so it makes it more visible and lets us know that you are enjoying our live shows here on YouTube. And oh, are you asking me what it's like to have sunshine? We do have a little bit of sunshine. It seems poking through right now. It's hit or miss here in Minnesota. We have gloomy days, we have sunshiny days. It all works. I'm just ready for snow, and it doesn't look like we have any in our forecast. So here's hoping that changes. All right, well, we will see you again tomorrow on Wednesday's Facebook Live with Joka. She'll be creating a scrapbooking layout. And then Thursday, you can join Heather on Facebook Live. I'm sure she'll be doing another peek at a new release item. And then join us Friday for our release. We won't be doing any lives on Friday, but there will be a ton going on. There will be a blog hop going on our blog hop. There will be an intro video here on YouTube. There will be giveaways all over the place. And then, of course, we'll post to Instagram as well. So be sure to join us then. And other than that, I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope that you get some crafty time in. Talk to you later.